is that porchetta that we were doing yesterday. We slow roasted it to 145 internal. We let it rest, and now we're just finished crisping up the skin.
That's the sound you want to hear. That is that pork skin that has really formed a nice crackling now. Like, it just goes. That extra crunch from the fry.
Creekstone Farms during pork. I've never seen so much marbling on a pork. An amazing treat. Where does the best beef in the world come from? Let's find out. My name is Rafael Hernandez. I'm a beef specialist. My mission is to travel all over the world and recognize those that are making a difference in the industry. My focus is on two things: animal healthcare and a better way of eating. From the ranches to the packing plants to the restaurants, I'll be working with the best people and seeing how they contribute to that melt in your mouth, perfectly marbled slice of beef. Join me in my international journey to bring people the best beef in the world. Life is beautiful. Taste it. Being hands-on in this industry is crucial. I can talk to chefs about Creekstone until I'm blue in the face, but the fact is, you will never fully understand until you see it for yourself. To get the full perspective, you need to stand where the farmers stand and cut where the butchers cut. And that is why I have brought my clients from Latin America all the way to Kansas. They're all here for three things: a tour of Creekstone Farms and the affiliate farms, an intensive 2-day course of butchery, and lastly, to have a blast. Time to get hands-on. The moment our feet hit the ground in Kansas, we're off to Tiffany Cattle Company.
Tiffany Cattle Company, between our three operations, we are farming roughly 3,400 acres right now. And we'll make all of our own corn silage and sorghum silage.
The first thing we see is feed. Lots and lots of feed. We're actually out here with a crew from Central South America. So we're about 25 guys, professional chefs. We're having a 4-day Curecamp. It's going to be amazing. These guys get to see what happens with the cattle, how they're brought up, how they're being fed.
It's one thing for us to tell them how we do things and why we do things with the people we do, but it's another thing for them to come and see it for themselves. We have nothing to hide. We're always an open book. I think that's what our customers like about us.
It's fun, it's amazing, and we love coming here, man. It's my place. And you can see the wetness. It's actually sweet. Well, so this is actually distilled corn. So what they do is they go out, they take the corn in, they take the ethanol out on the alcohol, and they bring it back in. This is a great source of protein for the animal, and it's natural. So talk about natural feed, it's expensive.
So here, I mean, as soon as our cattle get here, the day they step in, they're going to start eating modified distillers. And each ration, we might start adding a little more distillers each ration until they get to their top ration.
From there, we see acre after acre of cattle, and more cattle, and more cattle, all healthy and happy. The tour ended with a few demonstrations from one of the mechanical devices on the farm.
This is what we call the bud tub system. I told you it's all about keeping cattle quiet, don't want to get their cortisol levels too high. And so you bring about 7 or 8 head in here. They typically like to go back where they came from. So they hit that and they're like, oh shoot, I can't go nowhere. I want to go back. Well, when they turn around and come back, this gate right here is shut. So it literally just, they go to that, and when they realize they can't go, they just come right up this alleyway with nobody having to use a hot shot, use flags, or scream at them. They just go up there on their own. They walk through, you catch them, they're in there for about 20 seconds, and then you let them on out.
From one cage from one side to the other, look, it's just natural instinct to them.
Yep,
exactly. They go into it.
Exactly. The purpose of this machine is to make these cattle as healthy and productive as they can be once they get out in the feed yard eating. And it's for the safety of them and the safety of our people doing the job every day. It's just so they can get vaccinated, which we all need vaccinated. It's so they can get dewormed.
Well, keep in mind when they're coming in here, weighing 1,000 pounds.
Yep.
900.
A lot of these cattle coming in will weigh about 750 to 850. And I don't know their history. I don't know what they've gone through, what's happened to them. So we're just giving everybody a blank slate when they come through. But I want them to be as comfortable as they can while they're in my hands.
It's crazy, 140 acres. They have almost 20,000 cattle sitting here, so we had a chance to look at them all. We had a good time, look at the treatment, look at the way they were fed, look at the way they're being divided. So it's amazing. A lot of Angus cattle here. Best of the best. You gotta come down to Tiffany Cattle Company, we love it.
With the tour over, it's time to have some dinner. When it comes to the best barbecue in Wichita, where there's smoke, there's fire. The folks at Station 8 Barbecue have turned an old fire station into a top-notch barbecue restaurant. And of course, they showcase Creekstone Farms. They got fire trucks, poles, the whole 9 yards.
So, this is actually the best barbecue place in Wichita. And what we're gonna do now is tour the kitchen. So I wanna speak to the chef. I wanna see the smokers. I wanna see what's going on. Let's have some fun, come on.
We're doing an event tonight here for Creekstone. Got some guys from Central America up here, and we smoked them some barbecue, a pretty good smorgasbord of it. Everything's cooked fresh every single night, smoked fresh every night. We make all our sides from scratch.
It's obviously an old firehouse, so we have a lot of old, cool stuff that you can see that kind of matches the era of the building. And if you take a look at these smokers, you can see the age, the smoke, the season on them.
But they rotate, giving you a pretty even heat all night long, and all the meat drips on each other, giving you a pretty solid baste.
So what starts on the big smoker that we just showed you guys ends up in here.
This is Creekstone Farms Duroc pork belly. You start out with some pretty good pork belly, but it smokes out there about 8-9 hours. Then we take it inside, pop it in the fridge. Once it's cold and hard again, we cube it up. We give it a little sauce, rub, a little brown sugar, some love, pop it in here, and it gets smoked again like another 2 or 3 hours. This thing's like a convection oven with a smoke box, so you kind of get the sugar to burn on it, and goddamn, man, it tastes really, really good.
The spread was unbelievable. Every bite of barbecue was perfect.
I like my meat without a fat. So look, I take the fatty parts. That's just me. What are you gonna do? And we got some pork belly here. Look at this. It's different, pork belly.
So we got quite a bit of original fireman stuff here. We still got 3 fire trucks out front. 2 are really good running condition, and we're taking the guys that are eating dinner.
As we're gonna see here in a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna see here in a little bit. We're taking the guys that had dinner tonight back to the hotel tonight in one of them. They're gonna have a pretty good time, I think.
We're about to get on a fire truck. We're gonna take everybody back home. Only in Wichita, Kansas, my friend. Look at this. We're going to ride on a fire bus. Pumping some air there. Who knows? Maybe we'll blow some fires out there. We'll see what happens.
And now, the moment me and my team have been waiting for. Curecamp. A 2-day deep dive course of all things butchery and charcuterie. And when I say all things, I mean all things. With a combined 70 years of experience, Master Butcher Brian Butler and Master Charcutier Michael Sullivan are encyclopedias of knowledge. We are truly learning from the best.
So one of the questions that was asked to me last night, does breed of pigs really matter? From commodity, Duroc, Berkshire, all these other breeds, and how do you really know if you're getting a different breed? Like when we get a whole hog in like this, first thing my first telltale sign is the skin. I'm gonna look at the skin, okay? I could tell this is a red pig, and what I'm really looking for is the quality of fat. The quality of fat on the pig tells me really how much more I can do with it. If you feel this fat, look at that. I mean, it's awesome. It's like me hitting this board. This is charcuterie fat. Best part of the pig is the fat. And I'm looking at this, so look, I'm already excited how hard this fat is. I'm feeling it. It's very clean. When I taste it, it's clean. I don't get any aftertaste, any residual. I'm looking at the quality of fat. Like this is amazing. I would make charcuterie from this. We would turn this into copa. I would cure this ham into prosciutto or culatello, fiocchi.
So do you expect to see more of the Duroc, that marbling inside? than the actual just commercial pig.
Correct.
So that's
You notice how much intermuscular marbling?
beautiful. Look at that.
And why is this? So a commercial pig is meant to go fast, and lean.
Just production.
Okay. From birth to slaughter is 6 months. On a Duroc, to get this size, this is probably around about 10 months old. It takes longer, but through that slower growth period, you get intermuscular marbling. That's why I'm looking for these. I mean, that's absolutely.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
This is gorgeous.
I'm just so intrigued because I really, never seen so much marbling on a pork. I mean, it's just
Oh, this was
the
so
Duroc
big.
pork. Yeah. Just
I mean,
imagine.
What's really impressive with this, the quality of marbling at this younger pig.
That's one of the things I really want to take into Mexico and show how the Duroc pork has a big difference on the cooking side because of that marbling.
It doesn't dry out during cooking.
That's one of the things that's.
And to your point, go back to your farmer and say, hey, any way that you can identify the pig, like, hey, the one that had 2 notches on his ears, perfect, because he's gonna know who sired that. And then he can then choose those genetics, and that's where genetics play such an important role in this factor right here in producing the highest quality proteins possible.
Like you said, I'd rather do longer, better quality, better taste, and wait for that, just appropriate. So I'm intrigued.
Durocs, man, they're great pigs.
Oh.
They really are.
So we brought in a lot of the Mexico chefs down here, actually Mexico, Central, South America. And the whole idea was to start introducing Creekstone Farms pork into the country. Most Mexican crowd in Latin, Central, South America think about pork, think commodity, pork carnitas, pork rinds, chicharrón. So it's creates a little education, and now I'm thinking of it. I needed the education myself. I'm intrigued not only by the actual Duroc pork, but by the marbling inside the product. It's fascinating.
Clean it up.
We're going to actually eat it, try it out as well.
Yeah, man. So far, we've gotten to butcher some great Duroc Creekstone pork. Our congregation from Mexico, they were very intrigued. As they put it, in Mexico, for the most part, pork is just relegated to carnitas, which I'm not mad about. But they want to find some more center of the plate stuff. So we really focused and took a deep dive on that.
We were having a conversation. How do we take a regular pork that everybody knows is commodity, and how do we make it look gourmet? We need to come up with different cuts. So it's always good to have butchers like these guys that will make some introductions to different cuts. Look, pork chop with skin. Mind-boggling to me. Our second day and final day at Curecamp, we cover my favorite topic, beef.
Well, today is all about the beef. Yesterday, we obviously broke down that beautiful Duroc hog, but today we are going to do all things beef. Brian is going to be talking about all of these cuts, how we break those down. We're going to talk about dry aging, wet aging. You're going to see a blood sausage demo.
What sells this cut is the fact that it has a tremendous flavor with the fat here. And I'm firmly in the camp of the sirloin fat is the most flavorful fat on that animal, located over that hip. So there's essentially my seam there. And now we can come in here. And I like sirloins out of the center here at around 1 inch. I don't like to make them too thick, but you can cut them up to 2 inches thick if you like. But already you can see that suddenly there's not a big chunk of connective tissue right there. And immediately you know this is going to eat better. And this is a more substantial steak. Like this could definitely go on a dinner menu as a hefty portion. It looks really great. It handles, being served with sauce. Here we go. You talk about grain and that texture of muscle fibers. There's what I'm talking about. Look how relaxed it is. I can put my finger right through this if I wanted to. This is just extremely tender. And this is not one of the more tender cuts on the animal necessarily. So as we get to that last one, now we can start seeing the last vestiges of that connective tissue. And honestly, this is where I would stop. I wouldn't put this on my menu. It's just too much. It is a very intuitive approach. It is a approach that you can really do with your left hand. Your left hand is guiding you. Your knife does some work, but it doesn't do all the cutting. You don't just push into a seam. You use your hand, your left hand, your non-dominant hand, to open that up. And what I teach people is create tension in the cut where the tension is. It's tighter. It's more stronger. It's, like I said, drier, so it really resists a lot. This dry has got a little more resistance to it. I don't have all the moisture that's helping lubricate my blade. Natural art happening. You've got the time and energy of a farmer, a rancher, production facility, putting all their energies into producing a product. And this is not beautiful red because of the genetics or anything. This is because of top-notch handling, sanitation practices, a drying room that's been designed by a master that can produce results like this. When I peeked in there, I knew when I opened this up it was going to be stunning. But that's really amazing. Hold tight, Andy.
It's not going anywhere.
The thing that's tough about it is just getting it started. But once you get there, it starts to happen really fast. Y'all can see how that's coming away. Now my peel, because this is dry age, is not as good as I would like. But I can come back in here, work that a little bit. Now, that rib's done. So now we can see why this is a good method. It takes time to get there, but that rib is done.
Some dry aged beef, 2 short loins, an export rib, and you know, I like to, you know, display that stuff as best I can, let them get up and get some looks at it. We talked about it a little bit, and then obviously at the end of this thing, we cook it all up, man, and everybody loves it.
This is that porchetta that we were doing yesterday. We slow roasted it to 145 internal. Now we let it rest, and now we're just finished crisping up the skin.
That's the sound you want to hear.
Dude.
So that is that pork skin that has really formed a nice crackling now. And like you can see, here I'm going to pull this off so you can get it. Like, it just goes. That extra crunch from the fry. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
There it is.
I showed chefs, you know, some ways to really make some extreme value out of cuts that you can buy less expensive than you can ribs and strips and fillets. And that's everything. That's the innovation, you know. And you know, the competition, for instance, that's one of the biggest judging components, is really creating new things. You know, we can't just keep making the same chops, pork chops or lamb chops, and thinking that that's new. So we figure out ways to either elevate that, and sometimes it's just as simple as a sauce or a marinade.
A friend of mine was stationed in Morocco, and this was a peasant sausage when he was in the army that they used to do. Men would slaughter the pig, collect the blood, then they would use harissa to season the crawfish with a little rice, and then make blood sausage. At first you go, seafood and blood sausage, that doesn't make sense. But with the minerality of the crawfish and the minerality of the blood, it is a beautiful, beautiful pairing. So we have rice, crawfish, jalapenos, harissa powder, a little bit of smoked paprika. This is very fresh blood, just harvested, I believe on Monday morning. So we talked about yesterday, blood has the exact same binding properties as eggs. We can replace them equally. Now I am incorporating all the blood, binding it.
Mike Soliman, and they call him Sully. Guy is an encyclopedia of proteins, pork, charcuterie, beef. I'm astonished, I'm amazed. If I thought I knew something about pork yesterday, he blew my mind. It's crazy. And then we have our butcher, Brian, coming straight from Austin. He's one of the guys that Creekstone Farms kind of associated with. And this guy is a work of art. So these guys have it as a prize for us, and pretty much for the whole crowd. Everybody's astonished. It's supposed to be, I'm not sure if in the world, but in the U.S., the number 2 guy that makes the best pasta in the U.S.
Batman, like, you know, for me it's like no waste. You know, this is the concept for me. It's not something, okay, can we do it? Can we not do it? The thing is that we can make pasta with everything.
So we've got our blood pasta and fresh pasta there, and it looks like a cracked bottle of Barolos.
So Francesco came in this morning, which is awesome. Came into the kitchen, grabbed a quart of my blood and sit there and turned it into pasta. This has became the signature dish of Curecamp, blood pasta. Look at the colorization. Look how beautiful this is. Right next to his normal pasta, you see the difference. And of course, we couldn't help ourselves, but we opened a beautiful bottle of Barolo to celebrate this.
But not only the pasta, we get to eat everything that we broke down and prepared in the past 2 days. Everyone is having a meat-eating, wine-flowing great time. My goal is to always walk away from these events having learned something new. I definitely accomplished that, and I am positive that all my amigos from Latin America have too.
Mi parte favorita de Curecamp yo creo que es la parte de carnicería. La verdad, el expertise de Brian muy amplio.
Curecamp was a resounding success. I'm thrilled to be a part of it, and I can't wait for the next one.
Now that these guys saw what it's about, now they go back and talk about it, and that creates
They're
a
doing
buzz, and now they want it. So
We gotta do some Mexican. The problem here is gonna be that how do we teach Sully Spanish in about 6 months? That's gonna be the problem.
Somebody could listen there.